everybody. Welcome to Two Moons and a Microphone. My name is Tanya Scott Thomas. I love fantasy, but I keep it real. And this season of Two Moons and a Microphone is sponsored by Housebar. Housebar is the bottle shop remixed for adventurous drinkers, foodies, and home entertainers. Housebar is here to help people gather well, live fully, and celebrate intentionally. Visit Housebar at 2 locations, Navy Yard or Georgetown, here in Washington, D.C. Hey, everyone. So I am very excited. I hope all of the collectors are here because I have a very exciting guest. I would like to welcome Matt Ligot. He is the president and CEO of LaserMach and Arcane Vault, which is their retail arm. So welcome, Matt. Welcome to Two Moons and a Microphone.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Glad to be here.
Great. So let's get started with your ElfQuest story, because that is how I start with every guest. So how did you discover ElfQuest?
ElfQuest. I found that it was I was getting out of college, kind of fell out of comic books. Just there wasn't anything that I was reading that I really liked. I mainly read trade paperbacks. I was too impatient to buy comics one issue at a time, wait a full year to get the story. So I discovered trade paperbacks when I was younger. And the way I thought about it was, if it's a really good story, it's compiled. And now I get this big book with a full story in it. Back when they had bookstores, it was, which one was it? Walden Books.
Mm-hmm.
Go there once a week just to kind of browse. And I kept seeing ElfQuest right underneath the magazine rack, but it was a compiled. It was the trade paperback of ElfQuest and the different volumes. And I kept seeing it, and I kept going back and kind of looking at it, going, it's elves, I don't want to read about elves. And then I kept looking at the art, and I was like, wow, she's a really great artist. I'm like, what is this? So kind of went in on the first volume, read it that night, and I was like, oh my God, what was that? And so every month I went back and bought the next volume. I think there were 7 or 8 volumes at that time. Mm-hmm, so over the course of 8 months, I picked them all up and just got absorbed into this new world. It's very much different than the Marvel and DC comics I was reading at the time. The story was fantastic. To me, the biggest part of comics is the visual aspect. Art. I love artwork. And her artwork was just, phenomenal. Just, I couldn't get over how clean and how sharp everything looked. And it was just by luck I chanced into it. I never really saw it at the comic store. It was Walden Books.
Yeah. Walden Books. Me too.
Yeah.
I loved Walden Books. I would stop in at the mall and see if there was a new book there and pick it up and get lost in the world of Two Moons. So yeah, we have that in common. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit let's start with your company. It's a family-owned company.
Yes.
And it's laser cutting, like metal machines.
Yes. So please
tell us all about it.
We initially started off with just one laser, and we had one laser that would cut metals and plastics and woods. And we were working for a number of manufacturing companies in the day, Boeing, Marco Marine, just cutting odd parts here and there. Eventually, we brought in a second machine to help carry the load. It was a small table and a small laser at that time. Then we bought a bigger industrial machine. So we started off with 2 machines, just laser cutting raw parts for people. They would take those and build them into other items. Currently, we have 9 different lasers in the shop. Each laser does something a little bit different. Some are duplicates just so we can offload work, or in case there's a breakdown, we don't lose pace in production. But overall, LaserMach is just a laser machine shop. Over time, we've added more capability, more equipment. I'm always trying to expand what I can make. And as much as possible, I want to make it in shop. I want to be doing the work with my guys on our equipment We're not sending it out to have other people do the work. It needs to be done in shop. So we have all the control, and we can make sure we're putting out the best product we can put.
Wow. So how did you expand into these great collectibles? So like you're making parts for other manufacturer, or you're manufacturing them, and then how did you decide to like branch out into these other areas? Because your company is quite diverse. You have like 3 main like lines, I want to say, but that's not.
We are in a number of different industries, and it's mainly it's just making sure that we're taking advantage of all the opportunity there is. Eventually, I would like to get us to a point where we're concentrating on one venture, which will be licensing. But in the meantime, we are in promotional work. We do raw manufacturing. I do aerospace engraving. We do gift wares. We do awards. And then we also do licensing. I got into licensing in the early 90s when, prior to that, we were only in one industry, manufacturing. And essentially we would sit and you'd have to wait for someone to knock on the door saying, hey, we need this part cut. And the industry was slow at that time. So Dad and I were trying to figure out, where can we go where we can kind of control what we're doing and chase our own work? And that, what I really knew was comic books. I was like, okay. And at that time, Randy Bowen had just put out his Batman statue. I was a big fan of the work, loved that piece. And I was looking at, I was like, it's at that time in 91, it was a $150 statue. And I'm looking at it going, well, who can afford $150 to buy a statue? I'm like, what if I could make something collectible that was less than that? Could we be successful? So I had to sit in the shop and kind of look at the equipment going, okay, I've got these machines. I can cut metal. I can weld. I can form it at angles. Could I make a statue out of it? So I spent about 2 years just kind of chasing and building metal statues, which eventually we called laser sculptures. And when I finally got my build tuned in, I had to figure out, well, I didn't understand licensing at that point. So I was like, how do I get Spider-Man put on this? How do I get a character put onto it? So then, and back then we didn't have the internet. So it was just going to conventions, making phone calls, meeting people, trying to understand what's happening. So first off, I started with Marvel and Warner Brothers in DC, going after the big guns, and that wasn't going to happen, but at least I learned a little bit. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go with, small press, see what happens. And so my first licensed piece was with The Tick, and The Tick had just been picked up by 20th Century Fox for a Saturday morning cartoon. So I was right in the middle of that transition. So Fox Kids licensed me to do that piece. That got me off the ground. After doing that piece, I was able to, I was a big fan of Cerebus, Dave Sim. Mm-hmm. So called him up, sent him a fax. We talked, and I made a piece for him. I'm like, okay, this is great. So then, I had ElfQuest sitting on the side, and by far, that was a more complex piece to interpret. So I had to hold that back because I was still kind of trying to hone in on how to make these pieces. So ElfQuest was my third try at this. Went to Richard and Wendy, had a long talk with Richard, and I got that launched with them. And that kind of solidified that I could do this and it would work. And with those 3 pieces out in the market, that's when Marvel Comics noticed us. Got a call from Marvel and said, hey, do you want to play in our sandbox for a little bit? Went to Marvel. Being in Marvel, that eventually led to Disney seeing us. Talked to Disney, and we ended up becoming a vendor for Disney. So it just, one little step led to another step, which led to another step. So it was just, a lot of it was luck, just being in the right place, right time, talking to the right people. But it was, also was a lot of patience. There was a whole lot of no's within those years. But, I'm a bit stubborn. I'll keep, if I think it's right, I'll just keep going at it.
We like the word determined, I think.
Yeah, okay, I'll use that.
So so you were designing and sculpting them yourself?
Yeah, so I call them laser sculptures, but what they are essentially is a laser cut metal. So I would find, and what I was trying to do was I would look at comics, find a pose or a sequence that I like, take that, and then I would trace over it, draw it out, and then go in and edit it to how I wanted it to cut. Then I would take that page, scan it into my computer, and then digitize it. And back then, digitizing isn't what it is now. It was literally point by point programming on the computer. I mean, to program one of the sculptures back in the early 90s was literally, that could be 30, 40 hours of just programming. Or now, if I did it, you could do that probably in an hour. So very different programs and very different system now to do things. But everything was drawn out, then programmed into the computer. That program is then turned into the laser and then edited into the laser so it could cut. Each piece was then cut out. We would weld studs on it, grind it up, send it up for powder coating. While that's being powder coated, we would work on cutting and welding the backer pieces and the bases. Send those out for powder coating, bring all that back in, then assemble everything. So in the early days, I would do a lot of these sculptures at night, so I wasn't taken away from company time. So we were running regular business, keeping the shop afloat, and at night I would work on the licensing stuff.
Wow, that is so industrious. I'm so impressed with that. Like,
it's just
origin story.
Just trying to find something to make us distinct from the other guys in town.
Absolutely. And it obviously worked because you are celebrating your 40th year in business.
That's correct.
So,
yeah.
Congratulations to that.
Thank you.
That is very tough here in, these times to
it is
keep working.
Yeah, it does have its moments. It can be a little grinding at times.
Yes. So that first piece was the statue of Cutter.
Yes.
Is that correct?
So Cutter was my third piece that was officially licensed, but I kind of group the Tick, Cerebus, and Cutter all in one because that all kind of happened within a 1-2 year period, all back to back, and at that point we did have the comic industry with the distributors, and that let me get in there and start, kind of really understanding how distribution works. How does licensing work? How do these small companies work? And that gave me my footing to start talking to the bigger companies and trying to get to the next step with this idea that I had.
Amazing. And so what was it like working with Wendy and Richard for that first piece, or just, getting in the door with them? What was that like?
Well, it was very easy. Once I started the conversation with them, I was like, here's what I'm doing. I'm a big fan. I'd like to do an ElfQuest piece based in my metal statues, my laser sculptures. They were all in. And the next step was kind of drawing something up. And granted, this was before computers are at the stage they are now. So this was all done, hand drawings, faxing, letters by mail, and I sent them the samples of the two pieces I already made. They didn't actually make any changes to what I designed initially. So on the first go, it was approved. Then it was a matter of making the first couple pieces, getting it over to them to show them that based on what I drew, here's what I made, it does line up. So they took that and we were off the ground pretty fast. And what was really phenomenal about them is that they were in control of their own comic book. So they automatically they put a full page ad for me in the back of their comic books. I believe we got more orders direct from their comic books than we did from the distributors. So huge outreach from the fans. Had never seen a volume of work like that at that time. So it really kind of let us take the next step in the company at that point. So it kind of opened our eyes. It's like, okay, we can do this. We can come up with the idea. We can present it to a company, advertise right. We can get the orders. I can fulfill the job. I can ship the job. and we can move on to the next one. So proof of concept, it was great. And then beyond that, Richard was, I was young at that time. I was in my early 20s. He kind of tutored me on how to talk to companies, how to write a letter, corrected my grammar. It was like changed the structure of how I presented things. So I kind of just ran at the mouth on letters and was just too much information. It's like, no. Here's what you need to do. Here's how you need to say things. I was typing everything out. There's no email. Typing and faxing is like, oh yeah, do me a favor and turn that all cap, turn that off, please. Use capital, lowercase, and I go, sorry. So it was, it's very helpful.
Yeah, we call him Elf Pop for a reason. So, okay. Yes, someone in the chat, to me in the chat, was talking about the bookends.
Yes.
And I am kicking myself that I was like you reading the paperbacks, the graphic novels, not the individual comics back then. And I missed out on all this great stuff. So because I didn't know, because they had those ads and you could get these like really cool posters. You could get the
that was all in the
statue.
Comic. Yes.
The first round of the bookends, I think were they blue and red?
Hold on, I actually have one.
Ooh.
So that's the original.
Yeah.
One. So there was, I think it was kind of a light maroon and a green one. Were the first ones that we made. Those,
awesome.
They also listed that in their comic books, and we did very well with those. From what I had heard, the fans were very happy with them. It pretty much fit with people's collections. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, there is an ElfQuest collectors group on Facebook, and people are still looking for those original, like the original Cutter statue, the first bookends. I mean, stuff some people are, they trade, but I mean, they're always sending like eBay listings. And I mean, that's where I found out about a lot of stuff that, had come out that I didn't know. There was like a set of glasses and just like all these things that they were selling because they were printing their own comic.
Yep.
They could put all that in their own ads. I mean, it's kind of brilliant. So I just love that. But I have the new ones. I have the new bookends, which are nice. I love them. I traded one green. I mean, I ordered the green and another friend ordered the gold, and then we traded because we wanted it to be like the original. The first set that came out that were two different colors. So yeah, I love those. I have the luggage tags as well. Whenever I go on a trip, I have my ElfQuest luggage tag. So all the folks in the chat, check out the website. It is in the description box for Arcane Vault. Lots of fun stuff. And I guess I did show you guys some of the amazing ElfQuest pins. There are 12. It is the whole set. And they're just amazing. I was so excited to get these. So thank you so much to Josh Gold for reaching out to me and sending these to me. I have been dying to see them. So I think I can't even pick a favorite, but I love that you guys included Naka because she's like a new character and she has Afro puffs. And so she's like instantly my favorite. So how did you guys come up with which characters you were going to include in the set?
Oh, that was mainly directed by Richard and his team. We do have our favorites, and you do have the obvious ones you want to do, but to fill out 12 characters, essentially we just stepped back and they outlined what characters they wanted to feature. And then they went in and pulled a number of poses from each character. They did lay that out for us. And at first we were asked which poses did we want to use. And in the end, we kind of went back and said, this should be something you guys decide. Just, you tell us which ones that you want to be featured, and then we'll figure out how to get it made. So,
hi, Josh. I'm just a little sorry to interrupt. Just say
no
hello.
problem.
I try to like shout out my friends in the chat. Hello, Vanessa and Simone and Draco Dawn Stars. Hey, everybody. And Tamia, of course. Sci-Fi sister Tamia. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, not at all. So essentially, it was Richard and his crew that decided which characters and which poses they liked the best. Then we took that. The pins are something that we don't make those in shop. I do have another company making those for me. That's something I can't produce in shop to a degree that I can get the price point down to where it is now. So we need to use someone to have those made for us. But we chose a litho pin process rather than a cloisonne. I do like cloisonne pins and I like how they look, but for artwork that has really fine detail in it, I think the cloisonne can be a bit overwhelming. It can get, you kind of lose some of the detail. So we chose a different style to do than what traditional pins are made out of, just to make sure that the artwork is represented as much as possible and as clean as it can be.
Oh,
so
well,
for poses like these, this is the process I prefer.
Yeah, mission accomplished. I mean, it looks like they are jumping right off of the page.
Yeah.
And I love the glossiness of it, and the details are just spectacular. And I agree. I've seen some of the older pins, and I mean, you get it from the movement and the style, which is so representative of like Wendy's style, to see the movement and the cinematic nature of the characters and the way that they stand. But you don't get all those like finer details of like the facial features or the hair flowing, but you get all of that in these pins. So guys, go order them because they are awesome. And then you can bedazzle yourself, because I mean, I stuck these on my like hat from the audio movie. I was a Kickstarter backer for that, and they sent out these hats, but the hat doesn't like fit my hair like the best right now. So that's where they'll live. But I have, I have other options as well. So when I get back into cons, I'm going to like show them out at every convention, and I'm going to just, accessorize to my heart's content, because that is what I love to do anyway. So just super grateful and flattered. So thank you so much again for sending those out to me.
For sure.
Oh gosh, it was just such a surprise. Do you have a favorite piece that you've made, like ElfQuest or anything? Any of the other licenses that you've done?
I have it changes constantly. Whenever I'm working on something new, my new build tends to be my focus of attention. But if I look over the history of the work that I've done, one of my favorite pieces is I did a large this laser sculpture for Warner Brothers, the gallery that used to be in the malls. They had that Warner Brothers store, and I did an Animaniacs piece. I was a big Animaniacs fan, so I did this. I made a multi-layer sculpture of the Warner Brothers studio lot with all the Animaniacs in it and Ralph the Guard. And I was doing a little bit of work with the studio at the time for their store. So I made this as a sample to show them what I could do for them. And it just so happened at that time that the voice actors for the Animaniacs were going to be at the local Warner Brothers store. So I brought my sample in, and each of the voice actors signed it. So I do have that on display at my house, where all three voice actors are there. The only one that didn't sign was Ralph the Guard.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. I bet that's a treasure right there. That is so cool. That sounds amazing.
I'll send some pictures afterwards so you can see it.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Oh, you did send me some pictures, and I wanted to share some of those with the chat. These are not the ElfQuest products, but these are some of the other licensing statues that you've made. Like it's the Black Panther, and just so cool. I just love the movement. I love the way you're able to capture these, dynamic characters in metal.
Well, and that's what we're trying to do. So what you have here is the second version of the laser sculptures. So the original version was metal. All components are made out of metal. But I could only do so much with a silhouette of a character. This version that you're showing is the second rendition of the laser sculptures, where the background is made out of metal. That's more of a silhouette. The front character is color printed wood that's been laser cut to size, and then we UV clear coat it. That allowed me to do full character artwork and kind of bring that character presentation to the next step in the laser sculptures, kind of give it really bring everything out in the character rather than just what a silhouette could do.
Yeah, neat. Oh, there's another one. Oh, so there's Groot and Rocket. So fun. And I think we have another. This one looks so amazing. I love this one. Can you talk a little bit about that? This is for the Star Wars people.
Yeah, so this build is the most recent version of the laser sculptures. I was trying to come up with a new way. With all the new equipment I have in the shop and our new processes, I was trying to find another way to present a laser sculpture. And this was done for Star Wars Celebration, which happens every 2 years. This celebration took place, I think, in May, and it was in Japan. And that was the featured artwork. So we were given the artwork ahead of time, and I layered the artwork over 3 pieces. The piece ships flat, and they're tabbed, and each tab will let you slide it into that base, so you have a standing art presentation. And it's the new way that we're presenting now.
Oh, it's gorgeous. You know, my husband got a present for me. It's similar to that. Like, some of the paint is on glass,
Okay.
and then there's like a wooden background. And so it's only 2 layers, but I think some of it is painted on one part on the front of the glass, and some is on the back. So it like has that depth to it. So
yeah, you want that layer.
Like reminded me of it a little bit. That's like, it's from our wedding.
What we're trying to do with that. Yeah, just an image section of that art is on a separate piece, some front, some back. And what we're trying to go for is just, and a separation through the tabs in the base allows it to stand out from each other. So you do kind of get some depth to the overall art presentation.
Yeah, that's just awesome. You could just have that. Can you guys see that? Oh, and here's Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dark Pokemon. What's the story with this one?
That was a sample that I did for Pokemon. The artwork had been used on a previous art presentation that we did for them. It was a larger format wall piece. I was trying to come up with a way to take that same art presentation and bring it into a more cost-effective price point. So this was a way I could scale everything down, and kind of what was very important to them was that book had to bend and look like it was being splayed open. So if you can tell by the picture, it is at an angle. We do have a spine in the book so it can bend, and the character's sitting in front of it. So he's sitting in the middle of the book. And it was more about just showing the Pokemon Company a different way I could take this artwork and present it, and actually get them into a lower price point to open up the market a little bit more.
Yeah, I love the complexity of it. It's very fun. So just great work. So everybody, like, again, check out the websites. They are in the description box of this video, and buy this stuff because it's great. You can have it on your bookshelf or on your coffee table. You know, let your nerd flag fly and, you know, display a beautiful piece of art. So check that stuff out. And there's even more. You guys are working with other properties as well, things from all of our like Gen X millennial childhoods, Snoopy and the Peanuts, and Richard Scarry.
Yeah, Richard Scarry and the Peanuts are both licenses we brought on this year. Just trying to break into some new markets and kind of leaning into properties that everyone knows, kind of a broader appeal. I very much like working with the small presses and the very distinct markets and the small fan groups. But in trying to open up the opportunity to grow our licensing brand, we kind of jumped into bigger properties that have a broader range of appeal. So we're currently playing around with some new builds and new presentations for these properties, which once we get that going, we're going to bring them back into our other licenses like ElfQuest and a few others that we're dealing with.
Yes. So there was a question from the chat. Are all the ElfQuest pins available?
No, they're still being released monthly. So they're still on a schedule. But based on the tariff situation, I was afraid that our costs were going to start going up drastically, and I didn't want to raise the prices on the individual pins. So we went in and had everything produced well in advance so we could protect the price. So I didn't want to have to change anything. I didn't want to halfway through our release go, oh, by the way, it's going up $4. Sorry, guys. To avoid that, we jumped in, bought everything as soon as we heard there was going to be a change in the situation, just to protect the fans from any price increases.
Yes, we do appreciate that.
Oh, sure.
It's very hard. I mean, you're a family-owned business. My husband and I have a family-owned business, so yes, it's sister to me, also a family-owned business, and it's tough. Like you know. There's a lot of pivoting going on. So
it's a lot of dancing. Yes.
So we're all here to help support each other in this thing called life. So, yes. Tamia says she's waiting for you guys to get Star Trek licenses.
I would very much like to get a Star Trek license. We're a very big Star Trek family, so that would be a lot of fun. It's that's a high tier to shoot at, so we'll work our way up to that one, but that would be a lot of fun.
Yvette, if anyone at Paramount, or Skydance now, I guess that's the tough thing with these larger properties. I mean, there's these huge, they're so big that it's hard to find like where to get your foot in, whereas when you're dealing with the smaller, like more independent creators like Wendy and Richard and Warp Graphics, it's a more direct one-on-one kind of situation.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's a lot quicker to make those decisions.
Because you're talking to the main people there. The other side of it with the bigger licenses, they're more interested, and understandably, they want, multi-million-dollar deals. They want to see hundreds of thousands of units being made and being shipped to Target and Fred Meyers and Amazon. We're looking to do, even if it's a big property, I'm happy making 1,000 pieces, selling it out, moving on to the next one. That's not what the big licenses want to hear. They don't want to, why are you going to stop making it? Why are you only going to make 1,000? It's like, well, you don't necessarily want to saturate the market. You don't want to, they don't quite see the small collectible aspect of it. So it's and I understand they have a bottom line they need to meet. So you kind of have to work around it.
Yeah. I mean, there's two sides to this type of business of collectibles and, merchandising, to have that, rarity. So when it is like a limited edition, it creates more demand.
It's special.
It's more special. Yeah, it's more unique. And there's a lot of market for that out. They're still out there. I mean, was it Wu-Tang Clan that did like one copy of an album? It was like one, and I think they put it up for auction for like $1 million or something like that. And that's a few years ago. So, because I mean, when there is like craftsmanship involved, it's it is special. It's more special. So it shouldn't be just like anywhere, and then you could just like it's just going to be on some clearance shelf in a couple of months, and that makes me sad.
Well, and along with that too is we try to, the things that we make, the properties we get involved with, the deals that we do, we always step back and go, well, would I buy that? Would my wife buy that? Would my kids buy that? Would this be in our house in one of our rooms? So we want to make sure that we're making things that as fans that we would, if we saw that, we'd buy it right up right now. So, you know, I want to make sure that we're putting product out that's faithful to the property and that's faithful to the fans. Because as when it comes to the comes full circle, we're fans. And, you know, we everything we make is in our houses. So, you know, we're proud to have it there, and we're hoping that people are proud to have that same piece. So that's what we're trying to do.
I think that mission is accomplished. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I love having my stuff in my house, and you know, I am a little selective. I mean, I struggle with consumerism sometimes. So it's like you guys have put out so many pieces, and I am like, God, I want to get that. I want that one too, and I want that one. But then my husband is, you know, can you like I've already taken over my house. I have ElfQuest art on every floor. So I started with like a small area, and it's just expanded. And so I have to rein myself in sometimes. So, I mean, having like these pins, because they're wearable, so I can like, it's not taking up extra space in the house or on the walls. So, and you know, like the luggage tags as well, like that's not hurting anybody. It's not taking up any extra space. It's just a great way for me to like pick out my luggage amongst all the sea of bags.
Yeah.
And it makes me smile. Like I love to pull it out when I'm going on a trip. I mean, I like to go on trips, but I also like to have my little like ElfQuest luggage tag to like, you know, just be my little like flag to be like, hey, I'm a cool person. I like neat things that are obscure, and I even have a podcast about it. So, I mean, anyway, that's enough of me gushing. Anyway, I would like to just thank you again for coming on to the show and sharing everything about your wonderful company. Are there any other things that you want to like tease to the chat or say about ElfQuest or any of the other properties?
Well, for ElfQuest, so with the pin collection, we have been working with Richard and his team, and we're trying to come up with an art board that we can display all the pins on. It's been a work in progress, trying to find the right image that would complement all the pins. At first, we were trying to do individual backers. Then we thought, okay, maybe what if we broke up into kind of sets? Then, you know, we started kind of going overboard with it. It's like we had to pull back, like, okay, what if we just made one display to put all 12 on? So then it was a matter of what we're working on now is finding the right image to put that would work with all the pins. And the obvious answer was to go with the logo. It's like, well, but we use the logo all the time. Can we find a different image to put in the background to make it work? So Richard and his team have pulled out a couple images for us to work with. So I currently have one that I like quite a bit. I'm just trying to figure out, can I make it generic enough that you could put the pins anywhere, or do they have to go in certain spots, which kind of makes that project a little difficult for the consumer? So we're just trying to come up with a way to make this as generic as possible so you can do it any way that you want to do it. As far as placing your pins on the board to display it. So
that's so neat.
So it's ideally we will have it ready to go when the last pin's released, which I think is February or March of next year. But it is something we have been working on. Keep having to step away from it because you kind of get in a rut and you get stuck and just kind of run in circles for a little bit. But I'm circling back to it, and I know Richard's excited to try to get it fleshed out. So that's something I'm trying to get done this month or early next month, to have him look at it. Once he approves the design, I can have his sample in his hands in about 2 weeks. If that gets signed off on, we could be production in the next month. So trying to have that done in time for the last pin release.
Wow, that's exciting news.
Yeah.
And there's the 50th anniversary of ElfQuest is coming up in 2 more years. So, who knows? Maybe another Cutter statue, because I never got that first one, and the resale market is out of control. So
we have been talking with Richard about doing the new version of the laser sculptures that we have. It's again, that's a matter of finding artwork that will present properly on the build. But with the current presentation of the laser sculptures, we have been getting a lot of attention and a lot of positive reaction from the presentation and the build. So I think once we can land on the right artwork, the right character pose, the right background image, I think we could do a long series of parts for ElfQuest and the laser sculptures. And that is something we are working on.
Oh, absolutely. Wonderful. I'd love the, you have like some interchangeable pieces with I think with the Marvel, and I saw today there was a post with the Snoopy, like you get to like, put the Snoopy on the doghouse.
Yes.
I mean, that is so fun.
So everything ships flat just for economics and ease of use. And we have everything tabbed. So each layer will fit in a specific slot on the base. So it's very easy to assemble. With it shipping flat, it's better for the consumer for shipping costs. And for when it's on display at a store, it's better for shelf space. The interchangeable one for Disney was a concept we had proposed to them about. Disney's very big on a you build it scheme. You build a lightsaber, you build your own ears, you build. So we had designed up a series of laser sculptures for them where you had your choice of 6 different bases, 6 different backgrounds, and like 12 different characters. And everything could be swapped around. So you could go in and pick your base, your background, your character, and build the laser sculpture that you wanted. So that was something that we had shown to them as to go fit that whole you build it scheme that they like.
Oh, that is so neat. It's sort of like the prize like toys that you used to get with like a Happy Meal, but like very sophisticated and highly crafted. So it's here for all the nostalgia, all of the like, Gen X and millennial people who can, have a little bit of disposable income can like just geek out to their heart's content with these like beautiful, sustainably made pieces, which I love that about them as well, that like there's a lot of like metal and wood. It's not just like plastic that's just going to break in 6 months and be in your garbage. It's something that like you can really hold on to, that's like sturdy. And
and we did try to make things, we do keep that in mind when we're building things, try to make sure things are very secure, very strong, that things will hold up. We do a lot of testing of the product to watch for breakability, which if you look at the original bookends and the new bookends, I did change how we made it, because though I very much liked the original bookends, the points on the moon were weak points and they would bend really easy and they could break, but it was just kind of the nature of that piece. Ideally, if we package them correctly, they would get to the consumer intact. So with the new build, we kind of changed how we cut it out just to make sure that there were no weak spots on the piece. But it is the trick of manufacturing and designing, is how to present something properly, but make sure that it's solid and it's secure.
And the wood that you use for the wood pieces, it's all like sustainable wood and responsibly sourced.
It is responsibly sourced. It's called the FSA Forestry. There's a title for the wood that it's sustainably manufactured. It is made. I have it made especially for our product line. The metal that we used on all the pieces, any scraps gets recycled. All the acrylic and plastic that's used, any scrap that comes off that is also recycled. And all our packaging. Once you open up the piece, all that packaging is recyclable. If there's peanuts in it, they're made out of starch, so it dissolves in water. So every element of our packaging is made to be recycled and recycled responsibly. So we do keep all that in mind when we are designing our packaging and sending things out.
Just wonderful stewards of this planet, and
trying to do
love that. That's very ElfQuesty, very Star Trekky as well. To
Yes.
build a better world today. So thank you so much, Matt, for coming on the show. It has been a pleasure talking to you and learning more about your company. And once again, everybody, check out it's LaserMach?
LaserMach.
Mac. Okay, because
like machine.
Because David was saying like LaserMach, like the Mach 5 from Speed Racer. So I said it that way because I heard him say it that way. Okay, so LaserMach and Arcane Vault. Yes. That's my problem. Check them both out. The websites are in the description box. So, get your stuff, guys. Go out and, holidays are coming soon, get them early. So, check that stuff out. And I just want to thank everybody in the chat. Joel, Tamia, Sailor Marge, Vanessa, Simone, everybody. If I didn't call you out by name, Josh Gold for LaserMach. God, that is going to be tough for me to get my mouth to say. Thanks again for joining in on the chat. And I would like to welcome everybody, if you are new here, to click the like button and subscribe to the Sci-Fi Sisters Inc. channel and hit the bell so that you don't miss out on any of our fun programming. And if you would like to get your business or brand in front of our loyal, eclectic, sophisticated tribe, consider being a sponsor of our show. There is a link also in the description box, or go to sci-fi sisters.com/sponsors to learn more about how we could work together. And if you're watching this on rewatch, please leave a comment and say hello, because I'd love to hear from you. So thank you once again to Matt and LaserMach. I'm going to work on that. Anyway, thank you so much.
There's no wrong answer.
Yes, thanks everyone in the chat, and shade and sweet water to everyone. And we will be back on October 29th for 2 Moons and a Microphone, and tune in next week on October 15th for Soul of the Story. Okay, so that's it. And everybody have a great weekend. If you're going to New York Comic Con, say hi to Wendy and Richard and all the folks out there. And that's it. Shade and sweet water, everybody.